Welcome to another episode of Old Man Sports Talk. I'm your host, Nathan Darnell, and today we're going to talk about the college football signing day, day one of college football signing day. It was a pretty interesting day today. Um, there was a couple of minor surprises, I guess you would say, and there was not some surprises. Hold on one second. I'm gonna turn on my chat. Already got some comments. Hey Andrea, how you doing? So yeah, see if we can get some more people in here. Yeah, today we're gonna talk about the big day college football signing. Um, Day one was today. They have until Friday. So they have 3 days to commit right now. If they choose not to sign right now, they can sign in February also. There's a window, the second Wednesday in February will be another college football signing day. So, really, I looked at all the three main college football rankings on the signing day, the team rankings, Rivals, 24/7, and ESPN, and the really 9 out of the top 10 teams were the same on all three. Georgia and Alabama. I'm sorry, Alabama and Georgia was 1 and 2 on all three, and then there's a little mix up between 3 and 10 on the rest. But nine of those or seven of those teams were the same on all of them, with Texas, Miami, Ohio State, LSU, Oregon, Oklahoma, and Notre Dame being in all top 10 of all those rankings. The other team that's in there, one for each, is Tennessee's in 24/7, Clemson's in Rivals, and Florida is in the top 10 for the ESPN. Now, um, as far as the team rankings go, I mean, obviously Georgia and Alabama, they get your top tier team players every year, but it kind of, I mean, if you want to look at some things that went on this year, you kind of ask yourself how important are the rankings? I mean, there is some importance, but just because you got the number one recruiting class does not mean that you're going to come out and compete for a national championship next year. Look at Texas A&M. Texas A&M last year had the number one recruiting class, signing 29 recruits. They um, finished 5-7 this year, and after the season, 16 players have already entered, and there may be more than that. I was looking at something that was dated beginning in December, but there may be more than that. But at least 16 players in that class have entered the transfer portal. So 16 of the 29 players have already said, "Hey, I'm done with Texas A&M." They're going somewhere else. You know, now where that ends up, who knows? But that also, to me, is something else I want to talk about. Like me, everybody knows if you're on this, most likely you know me personally right now, and you guys know I'm a big OU Sooner fan, right? Like I said, we're in the top 10 this year of in all three rankings. Okay. However, I don't want just any player to come to OU. I want players that want to be committed to OU. All right, for 3 or 4 years, or 5 or 6. Depending on or even 1 or 2. We get some graduate players. I want you to be committed to our team. I don't want you being here for 1 year and then entering the transfer portal to go somewhere else next year. Because you're, I don't want you. I don't want no NIL chasers. I really don't. Um, because you can't build a foundation. You can't build a long term team with players that are just coming for money, and that's what's happening at Texas A&M. That's what's happening at Oregon. That's what's happening at Texas. You know, they got that long money. All right, they'll pay a player, $1 million a year or more, or get them something. You know, like Bijan Robinson last year had a contract with Lamborghini, got a free Lamborghini, did some commercials, probably had some money involved. I don't know everything was involved, and I'm not hating on that, right? And Bijan had a great year, and I don't know if he's coming back or not next year. I don't know if he's announced it or not, but and I'm not talking bad about him because he's been committed to Texas for a couple of years. But these players are going to Texas A&M, getting that money, and they want to go somewhere else because they didn't get the playing time they wanted. I don't want players like that. I want players that are going to be committed, that's going to come work every day to make not only make themselves better, but make the team better. So that's just my personal opinion, and I hope most fans feel that they don't want somebody coming here and getting some money, don't want to practice, shows up half the time. In the game, they're sleepwalking through the game. No fan wants that. They want players that are going to be there every day, committed. As soon as the season's over, they're in the weight room. The wide receivers and quarterbacks are running routes. The DBs are doing drills. So linebackers are doing drills. There is no time off when you're committed to your team. Off season is what wins you championships, not the preseason. Okay, so another couple of really big. I said minor earlier. I guess they're kind of big, shocking. I guess to me, surprises today. The first one I talked about happened. The first thing this morning was with, and I may say the name wrong, but Carmaine McClain. He was a 5-star. Some have him as the number 3 player in the country. He had committed to Miami, and just a couple of days ago, Deion Sanders in Colorado gave him a call, and now he just decided he didn't want to sign today. He didn't decommit from Miami, and actually he didn't. We didn't hear a word from him. It was his mother that went on Twitter and just said he wasn't going to be signing today. Now that doesn't mean he's not going to sign tomorrow or he's not going to sign Friday. That just means that he didn't sign today. And I think he wants his mom and him want to listen to at least what Deion's got to offer. And who knows? Who knows what happens there? He may wait till February to sign. But it was just surprising that all of a sudden, just because a coach gives you a call, that you put it all on halt. You're committed. Hey, Brian, how you doing? You committed to everybody. There's a lot of players that commit and change their mind last minute, but that one was really surprising to me. Another one, I'm gonna, this one hits more home at OU, so I'm gonna give more of a story. I know more of a briefing on it. I know more background on it, but was with Peyton Bowen, him and his commitment or non-commitment, I should say, that happened today, and I'm going to go more into detail on that. So Peyton Bowen had last January had verbally committed to the University of Notre Dame, and had long been a commitment to Notre Dame. And then, last month, maybe 2 months, maybe even a little bit longer than that, there have been some rumors that he had took visits, okay? He had took visits to, I believe, Oregon, Texas A&M, and I know he was on OU campus, but I'm not 100% sure if that was an official visit or not, because, well, first of all, his starting quarterback, high school quarterback out of Guyer, Texas, is Jackson Arnold, okay? The quarterback for there who had been committed to OU since really for about a year now, and he has made it widely known that he was not. He didn't open his recruiting back up, and he did sign on the dotted line today to come to OU. And then there's also out there, how true this is, I don't know, but some talk about his girlfriend was either already at OU or going to OU to play soccer. Um, Again, I'm not sure how much of that truth is that, but there was a lot of talk about, yeah, he's coming to OU. His quarterback's coming to OU. His girlfriend's at OU or going to OU. He's going to be right there with them. So today, signing day happens, and he himself had never wavered from Notre Dame, but there was a lot of talk, right? So he has his little ceremony, and you know how they do it now with the hats and stuff. So he sits down with his mom next to him, and he's got two hats on the table, one for Notre Dame and one for Oregon. So there's not even a hat for OU. So was OU just was it the truth? He was looking at their visiting here and all that. I don't know. I really don't know. And so he picks up the Notre Dame hat. His mom's all happy. He throws it down and he puts the Oregon hat on. And his mom was upset. She was very upset. So he verbally committed to Oregon at that time. But that's all he did. He didn't sign no paperwork. If you go to all the recruiting websites, he has not signed the paperwork. It just says verbally committed. It flipped it from Notre Dame to Oregon. And on the way home today, I was listening to the radio. They're not even OU. It apparently is not even saying they're out of it. Um, they're saying the reason he hasn't signed is because they're throwing their NIL money out there. Now, what that is, I do not know. Um, but Oregon's got Nike money, right? So it's going to be hard to top that Nike money. In fact, I believe, if I'm correctly, Knight. I don't know his first name, but the owner of Nike, last name is Knight. When NIL became legal, he pledged 150 to 200 million dollars just for NIL, and he's putting it to work this year. Matter of fact, Oregon's team, like I said, they're in the top 10, all of them. They were going into today. They were 16 or 17 in the rankings. Now they're top 10 of all three. They've had some swings, including that Peyton Bowen. Peyton Bowen is in the he's a 5-star top 10 in all the rankings. He's a big one, big time recruit. So that was a big surprise for me, and it's not done yet. Like I said, he signed on the dotted line. We got a couple days to make that decision. Obviously, his mom was upset he chose Oregon. He may sign the paper with Notre Dame tomorrow. I don't know how she feels about OU. He may sign with OU tomorrow, but keep an eye out on that. That's going to be a big question mark coming up. Um, read the comment here. Victor says Nebraska got lots of transfers from NIL last year, but that flopped big time. Coaches have to make sure these players want to play rather than get a quick check. That's right, Vic. They got to be bought into the team. Got to be bought into to be dedicated to the team. I don't know how many Nebraska got this year or last year, but I did see Nebraska had a pretty good recruiting class, and I don't know if that changed this year. How about this year? They weren't top 10, but they were top 20, and that's still pretty good, especially for them who haven't had a really good recruiting class in it seems like forever. But I'm wondering if that not Matt Ryan, but Matt Rule had anything to do with that. If he, him getting the head coaching jobs, decided to bring some, was able to get some recruits. I have not looked into um, Nebraska well enough to know what has changed since Matt Rule took over. So, but yeah, there's the NIL. I don't like how it's done right now. I'm not saying it's not good for the game, but they definitely have got to come down with some boundaries. Okay, you can't. I mean, I'm going to sit here to the day I die and say Lincoln Riley was cheating last year with the NIL. Okay, you can't tell me he didn't go in and get Addison from Pittsburgh illegally. You can't do it. There's no way you can convince me. Because Addison wasn't even in the transfer portal until all of a sudden um, Lincoln Riley's name is mentioned about him coming to USC for a visit. If you want to transfer portal, why are you even talking to him? That's illegal. That is illegal. So, um, yeah, there's definitely some rules that are being broken out there. The Pittsburgh coach even said this week that there's been a couple of schools. His players have showed him text messages where these schools are guaranteeing them 5 million. I don't know if it was a year or over what period of time, but to come play for their school. Now, why? I mean, in order to back your accusation up, you got to show proof. The way I look at it, don't make no accusation and just say, "Well, I'm not telling you who." Right? That's like telling somebody, "Oh, I got a secret to tell you," and they're not even saying nothing. Right? I mean, we all want to know who is it. Um, so he needs to come. He needs to come clean and say what schools are, or don't even say nothing at all. Um, so just let your kids are telling you about it. That if they're telling you about it, that means they ain't going nowhere anyway. So they're not coming to tell you so you can up their NIL money. They've already got something in place. So if they do have something in place, and I think most, like I know at OU, every player gets paid. I'm not saying they all get millions, but they all get something, right? Um, Oklahoma's got a great NIL program that's ran by former players, and I don't think it's boosters. It's more or less just former players, and they got something going on. I don't know the whole details on it, but I know they got basically like sponsors that contribute money to this NIL program, and every player gets a piece of the pie, which is good. So again, great signings classes today. You just gotta. The one thing I want to point out is, and we've kind of like Victor said, I was going to touch this also. Like me personally, I want players that are 100% committed to OU. As an OU fan, I want players that are 100% committed to be here. That means you're going to work every day to make this team and yourself better. You're not here to get a quick, $1 million and then be out, right? Because if you think about it, in the longevity of the paychecks, you're going to make more money in the long run in the NFL. Okay, so you need to do what you can to get to the NFL, and that's making yourself better, making your team better. That's not collecting a paycheck. All right, you're going to run through that, especially young age, unless you are already at that age money smart. Somebody has taught you how to manage money really well. You're going to blow through that money really quick, and you're going to be broke just like you was when you entered college. All right, so we just need to take the time and make the money in the long run. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add today to surprising on anything on the NIL? Any comments on it? While y'all are typing up, if you have any questions or anything, I want to make a point. I want to bring this. I was been thinking about this the last couple of days. All right. I mentioned earlier how Texas A&M had their one recruiting class, and half of them, or more than half of them, are going to be gone this year after the season, regarding the transfer portal. And I know most of those players are just chasing money. I get that they weren't happy with their playing time, right? I mean, I'm sorry. There's 22 players on the field, offense and defense. He signed 29. That right there tells you not all y'all can be on the field at the same time. That's if you just start off freshman. So, you got to earn your keep, man. You got to earn your playing time. It's not given to you. Just because you're getting paid so much on NIL does not mean that you get so much playing time, right? Now, there was a lot of them got playing time this year. A lot of freshmen got playing time. Oh, not to mention a lot of them got suspended. Remember they got in trouble? I forget exactly what they did, But there was some Texas A&M freshmen that got in trouble this year and got suspended. So, and I know that's probably why some of them are leaving because they didn't like the discipline that they created on themselves. So, but what I'm bringing up on though is how good of a coach is Jimbo Fisher? Think about this for a second. Remember, at Florida State, he inherited Bobby Bowden's team, right? The great Bobby Bowden, who had played for played for, I believe, 6 or 7 national championships and won 2 or 3. Okay, and he including lost to the 2000 national champion Oklahoma Sooners. But Jimbo Fisher inherited that staff. And what did he do after he was at Florida State? I think. Let me look here real quick. I got that. Right here. Let me pulling it up real quick. He was at Florida State 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Okay, and he had a winning record every year, including winning a national championship. Right, but in his last great year, remember he won a national championship with Jameis Winston. They went undefeated. And that following year, they had a soft schedule, went to playoffs undefeated, and #1 in the country, and got blasted by Oregon. Blasted. Since that game, and after that he was only at Florida State when Jameis Winston left. He was only at Florida State 3 more seasons. He went 10-3, 10-3, and 5-6. Okay, and then he took over at Texas A&M. At Texas A&M, he's been 9-4, 8-5, 9-1, and not 9-1 was in COVID 2020. 8-4 and 5-7. And how many conference championships has he won since he's been at Texas A&M? 0. Now, granted, he's in the same division as Alabama, Auburn, LSU, but he knew that going in, and that's the price you got to pay, right? The highest ranking team that finished since he's been at A&M has been #4. Again, that was in 2020, the COVID year, right? Outside of that, the best ranked he's had is 16. He's he's been at A&M for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, 6 years, and he's only finished in the top 25 twice, and I just named them. COVID year, and he was ranked 16th one year, and he's not going to finish top 25 this year because he was 5-7. So I kind of think Jimbo Fish is overrated. The reins was handed to him. He did an okay job. I'm not saying that I'm not saying he's a terrible coach. I'm saying he's overrated. He's not a top coach in the country. I mean, anybody can be handing the reins, and if you're a good coach, anybody can maintain a championship caliber team. It's building teams like what Kirby Smart did at Georgia. That's an outstanding job Kirby Smart did at Georgia. But you know where he learned it from? Nick Saban. He was Nick Saban for several years, and he learned how to build a team from him. And he took his blueprint, and he's done just that. Win a national championship next year. Got a good chance to win it again this year. So Kirby Smart is an A+ coach. Jimbo Fisher, C, C-. So Victor says Jimbo needs to give up play calling duties. He hasn't done anything since famous Jameis Winston made him look great. Yeah, Jameis Winston was a really good college quarterback. But yeah, I mean he did. No, that wasn't him that had Manziel. That was Kevin Sumlin, I believe. So, but anyway, now I should have expected a comment from you, Victor. You being a Longhorn fan, I know you probably hate old Jimbo, or at least A&M, anyways. But But yeah, um, I just think he's overrated. We'll see what Sarkeesian is, though. All right, he's like 50-50 right now. For me, um, I think this next year he he has to compete for the Big 12 title. If he has another, now, this year was okay, but it wasn't great. Okay, he lost games he shouldn't have lost to. Oh, he shouldn't have lost to Oklahoma State, right? Um, they should have been playing for the Big 12 championship. No, he shouldn't have lost to Kansas State. He shouldn't have lost to TCU. And I'm not saying, I mean, TCU's in the playoff, right? TCU had a really good season, and they're very well coached. But that's my point exactly right there. Is a player like or a coach like Sonny Dykes can come in, take over a TCU program, and take them right to the playoff right off the bat. And Sarkeesian, his first year, 5-7. I think they lost like six in a row in the season last year. And this year, what are they? 8-4, I think they are. Um, you know, and three of those losses in the conference. Conference is okay, not great, right? So, and I'm not, if I'm going to talk about, you never like head coaches calling plays. Well, it did work for Lincoln Riley, okay? And it does work for Lincoln Riley. He's doing the same over at USC. Um, but not all coaches can do that, right? Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State tried it at first. They weren't as successful as they weren't as successful then when he was calling plays as they are now. I do think that when you do call the plays, then you're not focused on the whole game as a head coach. You're only focused on half the game, right? Um, and I do think as a head coach, you're responsible on both hands. That's even like OU this year. We got a defensive minded head coach, right? And I would look, see on camera, focus on him. He's over there still doing play signals, right? Now, the defensive coordinator is up in the booth for OU, but I'd rather have, you know, somebody else. I know on offense, usually it's some backup quarterbacks or walk-on quarterbacks or practice team quarterbacks or something over there doing it. But have somebody else. You got some enough assistants that somebody else can be calling the plays, right? Um, you got to be focused on the game the whole time, not just part of the time. So I do agree with you on that. In that situation, the head coach should not be calling plays. But I will say it has worked for Lincoln Riley. Um, but you know, I don't know how long he can keep that up. But and on saying that, I'm not. I like Brent Venables as a coach. I think we had a really good recruiting class for a team that finished 6-6 this year. And one thing I was going to talk about, so and I did look at, I'm not familiar with everybody's team, but I was really impressed with OU's recruiting, considering a couple things. When we talk about OU, what they've been lacking the last few years, it's defense. Our defense has sucked over the last few years, and even times this year it looked great, and other times it looked horrible. So, and a lot of the times, at least I would say, what our problem was even though we were getting so-called 5 stars, they weren't 5 stars that I mean really should be 5 stars. Like Buki, I think the last name was Williams. The kid was a great athlete, right? However, he's only 5'9". Now, I'm sorry, but shouldn't nobody be a 5 star if you're a 5'9" defensive back? Okay? You should be a 3 star at best. I understand your height is not your fault. There ain't nothing you can do better about it. However, then maybe you should move the wide receiver or a running back because a 5'9" running back or a 5'9" slot receiver can go a long way, even in the NFL. But a 5'9" defensive back ain't going nowhere. Not in college, not in the NFL. Not at safety, not at corner, not at nickelback, nowhere. And because he was a great athlete, they gave him way too much, and they would just line him up on 6'4", 6 foot wide receivers, and the guys would just reach up to catch the ball. It ain't working. And he wasn't the only one. We had 3 or 4 defensive backs that were 5'10" or 5'11". None of them 6 foot. And I look at this year's recruiting class. We recruited 6 defensive backs, all of them 5'11" or taller. And 2 of them were 5'11". We have 6 foot, 6'2", 6'3". That's what I'm talking about right there. We need them tall guys. We even got a 6'1" safety and a 6 foot and a 6'1" linebacker. We signed 24 guys today, and 14 of them were on the defensive side. So we hit all 3 levels: defensive line, linebacker, and defensive back. Like I said, we signed 6 defensive backs. We signed three linebackers and 5 defensive linemen. So I'm really, really happy with our class. You know, we got 2 5 stars, one on defense, one on offense. Um, numerous, I don't know. We signed 24, 2 5 stars, and I think 3 of them were. Actually, there were 3 late guys. I didn't get a chance to see what they were. But at one time there was 3 stars, and the rest were 4 stars. So we really, really great class. But they need to come in committed to the team, not themselves, ready to work. Now, I don't know how many of them are going to sign early, like in January. I mean, not sign. They already signed. Enroll early in January. I know the quarterback is. Jackson Arnold, I know he's coming in January. And for those of you who want Jackson Arnold to be quarterback next year, it's not going to happen unless Gabriel leaves. He hasn't announced anything yet. I don't think he will until after the bowl game, but I anticipate Gabriel to be back. And I think that's what they need. You know, I don't think Jackson Arnold's anticipating to be started. It could almost really bad for a true freshman to start in college at the D1 level, especially in a Power 5 conference. Has it worked before? Yes. Clemson, last time, Trevor Lawrence won a national championship. However, he didn't start right off the bat. We got to remember that. Um, I forget. I forget who was there already, and they probably didn't even need Trevor Lawrence to win the national championship that year. But they seen the writing on the wall, and they wanted to get him in there. I believe he ended up winning another national championship also. Maybe not. I know he played for at least 2 more, but I don't know. I don't know if he. I don't remember exactly how many he won. But anyways, it has worked. But he didn't start from day one. And in fact, when he did start becoming the starter, that QB left the team right then, and it didn't work out for him when he left either. So I like the Jackson Arnold's future at OU, but I don't want him starting game 1 next year. And unless we start losing, I don't want him starting really at all next year. I want him to red shirt. Not saying not getting no playing time, because you can remember now they can play up to 4 games before they lose their red shirt. So let him get some playing time again when we have blowout wins. You know, I don't know the schedule off the top of my head, but uh, if we have a blowout win in the first 2 or 3 games, or we're in the fourth quarter and we're up by 28-35 or something, 28 or 35 or more, throw him in there. Let him get some reps. If we're in conference, like we're playing Iowa State or West Virginia or one of them new teams coming in next year, like Houston or Cincinnati, UCF, BYU, any of those, and we're up 25 or 35, 28-35, throw him in there. Let him get some reps. But don't use him no more than 4 games. Because I want that red shirt to be on so he can still have 4 years of eligibility at OU. Not saying he'll stay that long, because the way I've seen him look, he's only going to be there 3 years, and he's going to be in the NFL right beside the other great OU quarterbacks in Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts. So, um, anyways, don't see no more comments from you guys. Hey, one last thing. I don't know if we have any golf fans, but I'm a big golf fan. So I want to talk about something this last weekend. I don't like I said, I don't know if y'all watch golf, but I do. I watch it a lot actually. Um, and that is my one event that I've never been to that I do want to go. I do want to go to a PGA Tour or Live Tour golf event. And the Live's going to be in Tulsa next year. I was looking at tickets. I might be there. They're not that bad on price. PGA Tour, no expensive. Live, not so much. So, yeah, I might head on up there, make a road trip up to Dallas, or I'm sorry, to Tulsa, and enjoy the event over there. But what I want to talk about is this last weekend was the PNC Championship. And for those of you who are not familiar, it's an annual golf event that the professionals play with a member of their family. It can be son, daughter, it can be mom, dad. Um, I think there were some grandkids that played, and there may have been some nieces or nephews or something also. And there's no age limit. Like when I say kids, they don't have to be, like Tiger Woods has his, I think he's 14 or 15 now. Charlie had him playing with him. He's played in the last 3 years actually at this event. Um, but the family who won it, the Sings, um, that was father and son also, but you know, Vijay Singh's son's in his 30s. So, um, anyways, I enjoy watching that event a lot because you get to see the pros, how they interact with their family members. And, Tiger Woods was so much more relaxed than he is when he's on the tour. Was he trying to win? Yeah, they both were trying to win. But he was much more relaxed. It's only a 2-day event. And on Saturday, he hit some really incredible shots to keep them right there in it. They were one shot back from the lead after Saturday, and they finished like I don't know, I don't remember what it was, seventh or eighth or something. Um, but it was just so much fun watching them Saturday. I didn't get to watch see the last hole on Sunday, but on Saturday I watched pretty much as soon as they started showing them, and it was really, really, really fun to watch them. Watching young Charlie, who's like I said, only 14 or 15, and can play golf better than I wish. I mean, I dream of playing golf as well as he does. He hits the ball so much further than I can ever hit the ball, and it's so accurate. Um, but I enjoy it, And then what I really enjoy is not just with the Woods. They showed several families, but especially when they're father and son, or father and daughter, or mother and son, or the Annika Sorenstam, I believe her name, and her son, who's only 11, played, and he was so freaking good too. Um, but his name was Will. But their mannerisms, like when it was one time they showed the Woods as Tiger and Charlie. Uh, Charlie putted, he had just putted, and he's watching it come along, and Tiger's standing behind him, and when the ball, like right when it's about to drop in, they had both had their club in their right hand, and they both at the same time just raised it, and it kind of, Tiger's right behind him. Charlie can't see Tiger at all, but the TV camera captured that moment, and then they end up showing some other mannerisms they both do that are so identical. And I just think it's so cool to watch, you know, their interaction between their mannerisms that are the same, their interactions that are the same, That's their offspring, right? So it is, to me, it was just so fun and entertaining. Not entertaining, but so fun to watch, so good to watch. Um, I know Tiger's had some trouble in the past, but he's to me he's one of the best golfers of all time. He's right there with Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer. Arnold Palmer, those three. It's kind of hard to say who's better than who. Jack's got the most titles, um, but Tiger is right there, and I just enjoy it. And other families too. It was so enjoyable. I actually enjoy that more than watching the Masters and the U.S. Open and the British Open, which I enjoy those as well. But just want to talk about that, see if anybody here likes golf. I see none of y'all left, so I didn't run you off. But anyways, just want to throw that little tidbit in there. And if you don't like golf, you should start watching it. And if you like to play golf, get out there and play more. Um, and it's a lot of fun. If you live here in Oklahoma City area and you want to play golf, hit me up, and I'll definitely make some time to go play a round of golf with you. I'm not very good. I'm not, but I enjoy playing. So, um, anyways, is there any questions? Anybody want to talk about anything this time? Again, I appreciate all you guys tuning in again. If you haven't told your bestest of friends yet about the show, then do it. Spread the wealth. Let's get more people involved. Um, we will have another show. I don't know when the next show is going to be exactly. We got Christmas. I know everybody's got Christmas this weekend coming up. Um, I'm celebrating Christmas both Friday and Sunday. Saturday will be free for me, so I may do a show Saturday. It's Christmas Eve. So if you're not available, just watch the recording. It'll be posted on YouTube and all the sites that I have: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Okay. So again, I gotta show you my little. I don't know how well you can see it. My little mug I had made. Old man uh, sports talk. You can see it right there. I don't know, my fingers are all in the way. Trying to uncover it. There we go. But yeah, I had this made. Um, Shout out to A and K Engravers, I believe it is. Anyways, they did a great job on it. Um, and if you want one, just you reach out to me and I'll get you the information. I'm sure they can make you one, whatever. Okay. Um, so I really appreciate you guys dialing in today. Again, I'll post out when look on the social media sites on my next show will be. I'll post it that day. Um, but thanks again for everybody dialing in. If you have any questions or comments, please leave some. Please like and subscribe below. Everybody have a good evening and God bless. Thank you.